So, Danny, let me just begin by asking you, firstly, what is the major problem with and let's start with with the US coverage of China? What is the major point of contention?
Well, that's a really good question. I first want to thank all of you at Mass Peace Action for having me tonight. And thanks to all who are participating and listening in on this event. So, I mean, I think the major problem with US media coverage on China is that it is wedded to the Pentagon and the overall US war machines designs when it comes to China, its plans when it comes to China. So all of the coverage fits squarely within a new Cold War narrative, which presumes China to be the grand so-called evil in the world. And this fits perfectly into what was declared under the Trump administration first, this great power competition with China, which has turned into this so-called strategic competition that the Biden administration talks about. So all of the coverage that you see in the media, I mean, I can just point out a few things that I've noticed just recently, one of which is the numerous articles which have been published by the New York Times and Bloomberg talking about all of the problems that have occurred of late in terms of the US's ability to spy on China. So now the Central Intelligence Agency, as of October 7th, has declared that it is going to focus all of its attention on China. It's closing down so-called mission centers in the DPR, or not in the DPRK, but centering on the DPRK and Iran. And it's going to open 2 new mission centers, one focused squarely on China and how to better spy on China, and 2, how to catch up with China on issues like climate change and global public health and technology and the like. So with this narrative that it's a problem that China cannot be spied on, we see so clearly how the United States and its corporate media, the United States military apparatus and the corporate media, are wedded together. There's a marriage between them to push a dangerous narrative of war against China, which is disastrous given that the United States and China are both nuclear powers. The United States is the only country in the world that has used nuclear weapons on another country. And there is no critical coverage in the US corporate media on how the US is militarizing the entirety of the Asia Pacific, including its own semi-colonies and colonies like Guam and Okinawa, for example, in order to target China. So I think that there is just a huge information gap. There's just no coverage on the United States' role in fueling this new Cold War with China. And then there is this incessant yellow peril, white supremacist jingoism that the corporate media fuels to portray China as the grandest of all evils. What William Burns, the current CIA director under Joe Biden, called the greatest threat to international security and the US's interests at this moment.